Hello, I am JulianaMorillo. I am part of the Teusaquillo Mennonite Church in Bogota, Colombia, and also part of the Mennonite Creation Care Task Force. Why are we to care and act about climate change? One of the important reasons we should care is because it is deeply affecting our brothers and sisters who are living in places affected by a changing climate. As a missionary, I worked for years amongst churches and communities in the highlands of Cusco, Peru, and we witnessed how the changing climate was causing them to lose 70% or up to 100% of their crops. In their own words, the weather is going crazy. During the last 20, 30 years, the climate is not as regular as it used to be. We used to know when it was going to rain, when there was a dry period, when to sow, when to reap, they say. But now climate has gone crazy. When we have just sown the seed, it fails to rain for weeks, and we lose all of our investment. Or when we're ready to harvest, it hails and we lose all of our crops. The highlands have many scattered communities, amongst whom are a lot of believers who are small-scale farmers and who have recently had to diminish agriculture and turn to raising a few heads of cattle in order to survive, or who have had to migrate because climate change has ruined their livelihoods. I was able to see clearly how the responsibility for dealing with the consequences of climate change is falling disproportionately on the shoulders of these needy communities with very few resources to respond effectively. One of Jesus' parables reminds us that we need to show solidarity. Who is my neighbor? Jesus responded with a familiar story of the man traveling from Jerusalem to Jericho who had been beaten, robbed, and left to die. A priest and a Levite passed by hurriedly without giving him any attention, but a Samaritan took pity on him, bandaged his wounds, and took care of him. One of the characteristics of environmental problems, like climate change, is that those who cause the problem can be far removed from those who are most affected, preventing them from seeing their wounded neighbor. This familiar parable invites us to see climate migrants who are leaving the highlands of Cusco or who are leaving the islands of the Pacific because of sea level rise as our neighbors who are climate victims and require our action. Those responsible for climate change, you and I, are at a distance, and often without even realizing it, we are beating the wounded and leaving them half naked through our consumerist and wasteful lifestyles. Our selfish attitudes of consumption are contributing to a worldwide problem of impoverishment and vulnerability. They are challenging us as believers to be part of the solution rather than the problem. We need new forms of global solidarity. Churches can show solidarity with affected communities, helping them to adapt and mitigate climate impacts while broader issues are dealt with worldwide. We can also change our patterns of consumption and move to simpler lifestyles.